Good day and welcome to my channel today. Initially we started off this conversation with a title I called Lagos, Nigeria to Cape Verde Islands. So I've done the first one where I talked about my trip to Cidade Island in the Cape Verde archipelago, and then on the second in the series I talked about my visit to Boa Vista. And then on this last one, which I will call Lagos, Nigeria to Cape Verde 3, I will be discussing my trip to Santiago Island. So let me just go straight to the point. So that morning we flew for 45 minutes from Boa Vista Island to Santiago Island, to Praia to be precise. So it was just a normal flight, unlike that of Boa Vista that was just like 25 minutes. We barely took off and then we started landing. So in line with my custom of not wanting to use airport taxis, wanting to explore, and maybe if you call this wanting to save money, you may not be wrong. So I decided to walk out of the airport to find a taxi that would take me at a cheaper price, compared to what the airport taxi was going to charge. So fortunately for me, somebody stops right in front of me and he asked me to join him. Where am I going? So I was like, okay. I joined him and we got talking, and I got to find out this guy is a journalist and a YouTuber like myself. So it was just a very, very nice opportunity to meet him. His name is Nelvino. He's from Cape Verde, Boa Vista to be precise. So, in fact, while driving me to where I was supposed to stay, we talked a lot about Nigeria, Africa, and Biafra. So he was a kind guy. He made sure I settled in the hostel before he left. So let me at this point talk a little bit about the history of this island. So first, let me start by saying that this island happens to be the largest island in the Cape Verde archipelago. So it's the biggest when you compare it to Boa Vista, to Sal, to San Vicente, and all other different islands. And it has most of the Cape Verde population. So there are very remarkable places. In fact, the very first place that the Europeans settled, which is now called Ribeira Grande, formerly Cidade Velha, was where the Europeans first settled in Africa. So this particular Cidade Velha served as the capital, but at a point in their history where, after several pirates attacked by the French and the English pirates, they decided to move their capital to where it is presently, which is Praia. So by the way, Santiago means St. James in Portuguese. So if you're saying Santiago Island, you're saying St. James Island. So like I said before, this particular island has most of the African population, and it was very, very, very popular during the slave trade. In fact, the history said that during that time, this particular Santiago Island should be like the most expensive, or the city that makes more money that the Portuguese owned. So that's to tell you that the volume of trade that went on there was enormous. So if you are planning a trip to Cape Verde, Santiago Islands, you will be looking at doing sightseeing, swimming. If you find yourself in Praia, visit the African markets. They have nice beaches everywhere. Almost every part of the island has beaches. And then you have nice mountains and very, very, very green valleys in the middle of the island. You also have nice festivals, Gamboa Festival around May and the Tabanka Festival in May, June. in June, July, sorry. So let me just go back to talking about my personal experience visiting this island. So when I arrived, after resting and getting used to the hostel and things around there and resting, I had to go shopping. So filming this video on top of my hostel. So this is the city of Praia. So over there you have the National Assembly over there, and this building you're seeing here is the central bank of the country. Still under construction. After it you have the National Assembly. Para ir ao aeroporto vai essa direção. So this you take this direction to the airport. So this is my hostel. It's very large, and funny enough they don't have any customers, so I'm the only one here. And this big hostel, can you imagine? This big hostel. I've been here all alone. Well, I'm leaving tomorrow, so you can see a my bag. Okay.
Oh, qua Indomie ba? Wede buli Indomie. Garing ka kala kasi. Barrio. Sugati. Ka woka.
So, probably in the evening after I must have relaxed and eaten, I had to go out to see some part of the country. I visited the Pope Square. I visited the beach. I even visited the House of Assembly or House of Parliament, as they call it. You know, so where I was staying, from there you can look out and you can see all these places. So I just went around that evening to have a casual look on everything. So the next day was going to be the Christmas day. So that day I decided to visit Rua de Banana at the Cidade Velha.
Agora eu vou para Rua Banana. O meu amigo Mike me avisou a ir para a cidade, para Rua Banana. Então eu vou para a Cidade Velha. Rua Banana fica na Cidade Velha. Então hoje a cidade não tem muito bus, então eu vou pagar uma táxi. Vamos ver na Cidade Velha. Olá, bom dia. Como chegar na Cidade Velha, Rua Banana?
Aqui vai apanhar Yassi?
Ok, aqui eu vou apanhar que carro?
Carro, ok.
Carro, que...
Também.
Ok, você vai também, ok.
Yeah.
Obrigado. Vamos juntos.
Something very important happened here. In 2009, UNESCO declared this particular Cidade Velha a World Cultural Heritage Site. You know, so because there were several things there that marked that they are very historical. There are very historical buildings and historical and colonial influence there. So it was the first to be built in Africa, in West Africa. Sorry, it was the first to be built by the Europeans in West Africa. It has a place called Rua Banana or Rua de Banana that happens to be, as they claim, the oldest street in Africa. It was a center for slave trade those days, and there is this old church which would be like the oldest church in Western Africa, the Nossa Senhora de Rosario. So that is like the oldest church around West Africa. It was built in the 14th century, and you have Convento San Francisco. So it's a convent that was built around the 17th century. And then you also have Fortaleza Real de San Felipe. So this particular, it was the very first fortification that was built in the archipelago. So probably to protect themselves from other colonialists who were coming to who were coming to the island as pirates. So after my visit to this particular Cidade Velha, I visited a place in town. You call it Plateau. So Plateau happens to be one of the bubbling places in the city. Very, very popular, and from there you can have a very nice view of the Praia city. So after my visit to Plateau, I had to continue to Terrafal. So Terrafal happens to be at the northern part of the island, at the far north end of the island. So Praia is at the south, and then Terrafal is at the north. So this city is a fishing neighborhood, and the road construction to this place was very, very, very nice. We carved on the mountains, and history told us that they used to have a colonial prison located there. It was built in the 1930s, and they closed it down a year or so before independence. Okay, so Terrafal is beautiful, and I would encourage you to visit Terrafal if you have the time. So when I was done with that, I had to come back to Praia because I was meant to go back to Sal and eventually back to Lagos the next day. So I decided to visit. It was very late, and I had a friend I once flew with. So she lives there in Cape Verde, and she invited me, since I was coming to Cape Verde, just to see, have a drink before. So, but unfortunately, I got back very late, and so I decided to visit her that late. So on arriving there, she entertained me in her church or in her place of worship, and then I now got very curious about some of the things I saw there. So that was how she got to tell me that she is a member of the Baha'i faith. So she told me a few things about the Baha'i faith. I'm still trying to do my research, but according to what she told me, say the Baha'i faith teachings, tells that God is so great for humans to fully comprehend. To create a complete, accurate image of by themselves. So God is too big that human beings can't create an image of Him. He said that to the human understanding of God is achieved through revelations via His manifestations. So the only way we get to understand God is by the way He manifests Himself to us. Okay, so that's just what they believe in the Baha'i faith. So they have three principles that are central to their beliefs and their teachings, and that is the unity of God, the unity of religion, and the unity of humanity. So Baha'i, by the way, in Arabic means glory or splendor. So the religion started from Iran, so it has a lot of Arabic personalities involved in it. And there's this history that Muslims actually persecuted them because they were like, these ones are rebels. So talking about the persons in the religion, they have three very, very outstanding persons. There's someone they call the Bab. So he was like the forerunner to the person that invented the religion, which is Bahula. Okay, so and Abdul Baha, which is the son of Baha'u'llah. So these three people are considered the most important people that help to create awareness or to propagate this religion. So on my way flying back to Sal, the person I sat next to happened to be a US-based Nigerian travel blogger. So it was very, very nice to meet people that I do the same thing with. So when it was time to go back to Lagos, when I was checking in, there were these two very popular Nigerians that participated in the Big Brother Naija show. So it was nice meeting them too, Kafi and Gadioni. So when we are now finally boarded and it was time to go, the plane was ready to take off. Someone just came to my seat and was like, he wants to use my seat, that he wants to talk with my neighbor, that my two neighbors where was seated were his brothers. That he wants to talk with them. Do I mind using his chair in the business class? So, in fact, that should be my very, very first time of flying business class in my life. So, I really enjoyed every bit of my trip to Cape Verde, and I will encourage you to visit anytime you have the opportunity. Thank you.
Now with the taxi going to the airport. Yeah. Hello. Diga hola. Hola.
Hola, tudo bem?
Yeah, tudo bem. Okay. See you guys soon.